Popular TikToker fatally killed by ex during TikTok live. Caitlin Lee was mid-laugh when the gunshot rang out. One moment, she was filming a TikTok, sharing her joy with the world. The next, silence. The camera kept rolling, capturing her last breath. She had warned everyone, if I end up dead, it's him. But no one could stop what came next. Her ex-boyfriend, Joshua Thompson, had sworn he'd leave her alone. The courts ordered it. She begged for it. But in the end, none of it mattered. Because when the police found him, he had only one thing to say: I did it. This is the story of Caitlin Lee, whose life was stolen too soon, and the warning signs everyone missed. Before we dive in, do like and subscribe for more true crime stories. Caitlin Lee was born and raised in New Albany, Indiana, a small town where everyone knew each other. As a child, she was full of light. Her laugh was contagious. Her family called her their sunshine. Always dancing, always singing, always making people smile. But as she grew older, life wasn't always easy. High school brought struggles, friendships changed, heartbreaks happened. Yet no matter what, Caitlin kept her spirit bright. She dreamed big. Maybe too big for a small town like New Albany. And then, she found TikTok. At first, it was just for fun. A way to pass time. But people noticed her. That laugh. That energy. The way she could turn even the dumbest joke into something hilarious. Before she knew it, thousands were watching. Then tens of thousands. For the first time, Caitlin felt like she was seen. She wasn't just another face online. She was real. Unfiltered. The kind of person you felt like you knew. And that's why her followers loved her. But fame, even small-town TikTok fame, comes with a price. And soon, the wrong person would take notice. Behind the TikTok smiles, Caitlin Lee was a mother first. By 25, she had 3 children who meant everything to her. But her journey into motherhood wasn't easy. It was tangled in relationships that started with hope, and ended in heartbreak. Her first real relationship began like so many do, young love, full of big promises. She was just a teenager when she met the father of her oldest child. At first, it felt like forever. But forever didn't last. They grew apart, as young parents often do. By the time their child turned 2, they'd gone separate ways, not with drama, just with sadness. Caitlin focused on being the best mom she could be. Then came another man. This one was older, more confident. At first, he seemed like stability, someone who could help carry the weight of single motherhood. For a while, he did. They had 2 more children together. But slowly, the cracks showed. Late nights out. Unexplained bruises she'd laugh off as clumsiness. Friends begged her to leave. Finally, after one too many broken promises, she did. She thought she was done with dangerous love, until him. It started like so many tragic love stories do, with hope. Caitlin Lee first crossed paths with Joshua Thompson in the spring of 2022, introduced through mutual friends in their small Indiana town. At 25, with 3 young children depending on her, Caitlin was drawn to Joshua's apparent maturity. At 32, he seemed more settled than men she'd dated before. In those early weeks, he played the perfect gentleman, bringing over groceries when money was tight, offering to babysit so she could film TikTok videos, even fixing her car when it broke down. To a young mother who'd known struggle, his attentiveness felt like salvation. But the mask began slipping almost imperceptibly at first. Friends would later recall to investigators how Joshua would jokingly grab Caitlin's phone to check her messages, how his compliments slowly turned to criticisms. Her outfits were too revealing, her TikTok persona too flirty. What once felt like protectiveness became possession. Caitlin's best friend would tell police about a night in June 2022 when Joshua showed up unannounced at a girls' night out, silently staring at Caitlin until she left with him. By the time they moved in together that summer, the psychological warfare had escalated. Court documents reveal Joshua's calculated control. He'd hide her car keys so she couldn't take the kids to school, then blame her for being irresponsible. Neighbors reported hearing him scream at her children for normal kid behavior, with one telling police, "We'd hear him call them brats and tell them their mother was a worthless slut." Caitlin would later confess in a private Facebook message to her sister, "I know I should leave, but he's made sure I have no money, no car, nothing. And he's threatened to take the kids if I try." The physical abuse began that fall. Police reports show the first responding officer's body cam footage from October 12, 2022. Caitlin with a split lip, telling the cop she walked into a door. The officer's notes state Joshua stood smirking in the background, arms crossed, until suddenly turning on charm when questioned. No arrest was made that night, a decision that would haunt investigators later. Caitlin obtained a restraining order the following week, but court records show Joshua violated it within 48 hours, showing up at her workplace. When she refused to press charges, the cycle continued. December brought what would be Caitlin's final cry for help. In a 911 call obtained by local media, a shaking voice whispers, "He's outside my house with a gun." The dispatcher hears a man shouting in the background, "I'll fucking kill you, bitch," before the line goes dead. When police arrived 14 minutes later, Joshua was gone, and Caitlin, terrified of retaliation, refused to cooperate. The officer's report chillingly concludes, victim states she will handle it herself. Those closest to Caitlin saw the light fading from her eyes in those final months. Her TikTok videos, once vibrant and playful, now showed forced smiles with Joshua often visible in the background. In a since-deleted live stream from January 2023, when a fan asked why she hadn't been posting much, Caitlin's exhausted reply cut deep, "Some people don't like me happy." Just 3 weeks later, she would be dead, murdered mid-video by the man who swore he loved her, the camera capturing her final, horrified gasp as the gunshot echoed. But who was Joshua Thompson really? The charming facade he showed Caitlin hid a much darker truth, one that, if she had known, might have saved her life. Court records from neighboring counties reveal a disturbing pattern stretching back nearly a decade before they ever met. Asterisk. In 2014, at age 24, Joshua was charged with domestic battery against a previous girlfriend in Clark County. The police report describes an almost identical scenario, isolating behavior escalating to physical violence. The case was pled down to disorderly conduct, a pattern that would repeat itself again and again. By 2017, he had 2 more restraining orders filed against him by different women in Floyd and Harrison counties. One petition obtained by investigators describes him, holding a knife to my throat while screaming he would make sure no one else ever wanted me. That order was later dropped when the victim suddenly stopped cooperating with prosecutors, a haunting foreshadowing of what would happen with Caitlin. Perhaps most chilling were the digital footprints he couldn't erase. On an old Reddit account under his gaming handle, forensic experts found posts from 2019 discussing how to make a bitch obedient and boasting about circumventing restraining orders. One comment read, "They always come crawling back when you have something they need." Even his employment history showed warning signs. 3 different construction companies reported firing him for anger issues. One incident involving him throwing tools at a coworker. Yet none of this appeared on background checks, thanks to Indiana's lax reporting laws for misdemeanor offenses. The most damning evidence of all came from his own family. Joshua's younger sister gave police a sworn statement after Caitlin's death, revealing he had been diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder as a teenager but never received treatment. "We were all afraid of him," she confessed. "He liked hurting animals as a kid, then moved on to girls who couldn't fight back." All these red flags were there, scattered across different jurisdictions, different systems that never communicated. While Caitlin was falling for his act in 2022, she had no way of knowing she was walking into a predator's carefully laid trap, one that had ensnared victims before her. The ultimate tragedy? If just one of these prior incidents had been properly prosecuted, if one restraining order had been enforced, if one employer had reported his violent tendencies, Joshua Thompson might have been behind bars instead of in Caitlin's home. Instead, the system's failures became her death sentence. February 3, 2023, started like any other Friday for Caitlin Lee. She dropped her kids off at school, made a silly TikTok about her morning coffee, and texted a friend about weekend plans. But beneath the surface, terror simmered. Joshua Thompson had violated his restraining order again the night before, showing up at her apartment, pounding on the door until neighbors threatened to call police. Caitlin didn't sleep. She knew what he was capable of. By noon, Joshua's texts turned frantic. Cell tower records obtained by police show 47 messages in 2 hours, alternately begging, threatening, and love-bombing. "You're mine," one read. "I'll kill us both before I let you go." Caitlin's last reply, timestamped 2:14 p.m., was a single word, "Please." At 3:30 p.m., Caitlin went live on TikTok, forcing a smile as she danced to a Megan Thee Stallion song. Viewers noticed her eyes darting off camera, her laughter a beat too late. Then, a noise. A door slamming. The video jerked as she turned. For 3 seconds, the camera captured Joshua's face, twisted with rage, before the screen toppled to the floor. The audio kept recording, "You think you can embarrass me?" A scream. Then the gunshot. The live stream didn't stop. For 11 agonizing minutes, 1,400 viewers heard gurgling breaths, footsteps, and Joshua's voice, calm now, telling someone on the phone, "She's done." Police would later confirm he called his mother before dialing 911, where he coldly confessed, "I just shot my girlfriend." When officers arrived at 3:52 p.m., they found Caitlin sprawled by her pink sofa, still clutching her phone. Joshua sat on the porch smoking a cigarette, the 9mm pistol visible in his lap. Bodycam footage shows him smirking as an officer read his rights. "Worth it," he muttered. The investigation exposed horrifying oversights. Joshua had been arrested just 72 hours earlier for stalking Caitlin at her workplace, but posted $500 bail. The judge never reviewed his prior violations. The gun. Legally purchased 2 weeks prior, despite his record. Even the 911 operator failed to prioritize the call, delaying police by 8 minutes as Caitlin bled out. In the weeks that followed, TikTok users scoured Caitlin's old videos. One from December now seemed prophetic. "If I die," she whispered, "don't let them say it was domestic drama. Say he hunted me." Her children, now orphans, were adopted by her sister. Joshua Thompson's trial began on November 6, 2023, in a packed Floyd County courtroom. Prosecutors presented a mountain of evidence: the TikTok live stream, the 911 confession, the years of documented abuse. But the most chilling moment came when the jury heard jailhouse phone calls. Just 3 days after the murder, Joshua told his brother, laughing, "At least I got the last word. That bitch can't ignore me now." Caitlin's family sat stone-faced as the defense argued Joshua snapped due to emotional distress. But texts proved otherwise. One sent minutes before the murder read, "You're dead today." After just 4 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a unanimous verdict, guilty of first-degree murder. At sentencing, Caitlin's mother faced Joshua directly. "You didn't just kill my daughter," she said, voice shaking. "You killed those kids' mother. Their birthdays, graduations, weddings, you stole all of it." The judge handed down life without parole, adding, "The only mercy you'll receive is that Indiana no longer has the death penalty." Caitlin's 3 children, then aged 7, 5, and 3, were playing at daycare when their mother was murdered. That night, they were taken in by Caitlin's older sister, Megan, who fought for permanent custody. Court records show Joshua's parental rights were terminated post-conviction, but the scars remain. The children now attend therapy twice weekly. Megan told local media the 5-year-old still asks, "When will mommy come back from heaven?" To honor Caitlin's memory, the family created a scholarship in her name for single mothers pursuing education, funded partly by viral TikTok tributes that raised over $200,000. A recent Instagram post shows the oldest child holding a framed photo of Caitlin on her first day of second grade. The caption reads, "We see you in every sunset, Mama." Meanwhile, Joshua sits in Wabash Valley Correctional Facility, where records show he's been written up twice for threatening female guards. Caitlin's children will grow up without their mother, but not without her legacy. Share this story so their pain isn't forgotten. Like and subscribe, and if you think Caitlin's story deserves to be heard, type #JusticeForCaitlin in the comments.